As we celebrate the launch of Rich Simmonds' book 5-Night Plan today on appropriately Valentine's Day, what I love about Richard is the fact that he truly is a rule breaker and a change maker. I really applaud what Richard has done. It's magnificent, and yet again he has broken through the box of conventional wisdom around writing books, and his book is already changing the shape and the face of relationships.
The reason why I wrote 5-Night Plan, I needed to put out a book that would enable couples, partnerships to actually find their own way and their own sort of angle on their, because what might work for me and you, or you and Suzanne, for instance, will not necessarily work for other relationships. So if we're trying to be prescriptive and put out something that's going to work for a particular relationship, it won't work for everybody. So the 5-Night Plan gives you a tool that you can find your own groove. Well, the reason why the 5-Night Plan is suggested is that you do need that melting pot. Because traditionally you would get to know each other it will take about 3 months for you to actually get to know that person. The reason being is if we sit here and you interview me for 5 minutes, we never get any depth in our communication. And the same thing is if you keep on just doing the superficial communication, you never get down to the deep facts, what the other person's actually trying to or wanting to tell you. So you need to sit, listen, relax, and wait for that other person to just talk and talk and talk. So it's about, as Nancy Klein says, that beautiful listening that you need to do. And you need to sit there and listen beautifully to your partner. And as they realize that you're listening to them, they will start to open up. Because you actually, as John Maxwell says, when they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to show your partner that you actually care, that there's actually that you want to know about them. And it's not just superficial. And it's not just you waiting to say something because they've finished speaking. You've got to allow them to finish speaking and then continue and say, what else would you like to say? How else would you like to express yourself? And then to get that deep understanding. So that's the whole idea, is to put enough time together intensively, as you say, that melting pot, so that we can then get into the depth of our relationship, the depth of the understanding, which then brings the trust and helps and builds the love in the relationship. Because it's that trust. Can I trust my partner? Do they want to understand me, or do they just want to be with me? Quite simply, it's just take the experience that you have, build your communication, which will build the trust and just strengthen your relationship. Because every problem probably in the world is based on a lack of communication. So if we look at why wars start, why there's problems in relationships, problems with our children, or anything that happens, it's all about not communicating. If we communicate effectively, we smooth everything over. So it's about going to the level where you take enough time to understand and communicate properly with each other. Find out what they want, not what you think you need to give them. And that happens, as I start, and we're about to publish my second book, which is the business communication book, exactly the same thing. When we look at what our customers want, well, if we're going to give them what we think we want to give them, we haven't listened to them. So we need to listen to people, find out what they want, and then give them what they want, as opposed to giving them what we think they need. There was a reason why you committed to each other in the first place. So even if you think you can't communicate, at least honor the other person enough by giving them a bit of your time. And you might just find that spark. And which I do believe that if you look at cases in history and stories of how people who have managed to start communicating. Now think of the one where the couple they just need, when they talk to each other, you just have to hold hands or just touch each other. It changes the level of your communication. So if the relationship is on that last stretch, start communicating, and there's a good possibility that you'll bring your relationship back into line and have a foundation to build on. Find that foundation, and that's what I believe that the 5-night plan can do for a relationship. Everything can be broken, but there is still a foundation that's always been there, that you can now start to sort of like remove the rubble from, and find that foundation, clear out the rubble, and start to build again. And that's my real hope for people through this book, is that they would be able to do that and start building on that original foundation that's always there. Okay, so what we've done is we've put together Connect events. And there are 3 different Connect events. The first one is a dinner, where we have an intimate dinner, probably 10 or 12 friends together. I come there and we just have a casual conversation. We can also do a more personal engagement with me, where you could consult with me as a relationship coach. But I do want to just engage with you, and if you have questions for me and you need more understanding of the concepts that I've put forth in the book, you can contact me on my website, and that's richsimmonds.co.za. All the details on there. You can also purchase the book on richsimmonds.co.za. There's a full e-commerce platform set up there where you can purchase the book. We'll ship it to you. And then the other events are we'll have a 2-day seminar on relationships where I'll bring in some experts. We've got a 5-night weekend structured, where we'll have a couple that facilitates, and I'll be there. But it's really a facilitated process where you get to spend time together, and we can then look at different aspects of your relationship where we can assist you. What we have to understand about rule breaking and change making is if you don't break the rules, you can't make the changes. Okay, so you can't be a change maker without being a rule breaker. Some people are rule breakers, and that's typical rebel. There's not much strategy in that rule breaking, but to be a rule breaker and a change maker, you need a bit of strategy. You need to know where you're going, your intention as you initially put out. It's all about our intention. So in my next book, which is called Mug and Tweet, I'll look at the deep communication behavior that people have and how we would go about breaking the rules to make the changes. Because I do believe that we need a big shift in our communication styles. We need to understand people before we think we can communicate with them. So that's what's in store for the rest of this year. And the follow-up to the 5-night plan has also been discussed. That book is called 19. And when you read 5-night plan, you'll understand why the next book is called 19. It's more novel and story-based. It's a change and a challenge for me, because I don't like to stay on just the learning type self-improvement books.
For me, probably the nugget of your entire book is your chocolate sauce recipe.
Yes.
And I think there's too much cream.
Is there too much cream in
And
the
we'll
chocolate?
cut it down.
Oh yeah.